Hi, and welcome to the fourth episode of Interview with a Greyhead. The conversations that will hopefully give you a nugget of information or advice that you can take away and help you in your career. Something that will encourage you to take action. Whether that is with a project at work, or maybe how you're going to network with people, or to take some direct action with your career, like getting a new job. This week my guest is Odette Woods. Odette is a spiritual coach, a mentor, motivational speaker and author. You'll find several published books on Amazon, for example. And something I just love is that Odette is an opera diva, singing grand opera semi-professionally. Now I just love that because I just wish I could sing. Odette has a wealth of life experience with over 30 years accompanying hundreds of souls on their most challenging journey through cancer treatment, end of life transitions. This has given Odette an extraordinary 360-degree view of life on what really matters. For me, this is a slightly different type of conversation, something more spiritual. I hope you enjoy the conversation as much as I did. Finally, please like and share this episode within your network. It really does help. Thanks now. Hi, Odette. Hi, how are you? Thanks for
I'm
joining me
good.
here today.
It's my privilege, Paul. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
So, Odette, we've spoken and 10 questions, 10 answers, Greyhead interviews. So, experienced people who have got a colourful life and ideas of you will take a nugget of information away from our conversation today and take some positive action on their own career and their own life. Maybe they're not quite sure what to do and stuff, but that's what we're going to do. So let's just jump in. And first of all, you want to give an introduction of what you're doing and who you are first?
Okay. So I am a spiritual coach and a published author and a motivational speaker and an opera diva. So I've had a very checkered career.
Opera.
So I'm a good person to talk about, to talk with, because I've had various careers. I have enough gray hairs, even though you won't see them. I'm covering them up as best I can. But I've acquired enough gray hairs to be able to confidently say, I know about career change.
Career change, yeah. Fantastic.
And mentoring and coaching, yeah.
Right, let's jump into the questions then. So 10 questions, 10 answers. They're all the same questions with all the interviews that I do. And it's really hearing your words around some of it. So for some people, they plan their career. And what I mean by that is they may, have a very specific topic or a very specific career they want to follow. And the great example I always use is being a doctor. If you're going to become a doctor, you go to uni for 7 or 8 years, and it's a very focused. Where other people, they might just go to uni and they'll do something about their career. They'll take a degree, but then the path goes somewhere vastly different. So I've just had a client who took a degree in politics, and now he's a sales manager. And so politics and sales have got nothing to do with each other, right? And now he wants to do something.
Are you sure they don't?
Yeah,
I'm not sure they don't.
Well, I suppose, yeah. Being a politician, you have to be a salesman, don't you? But what's your views on planning your career and taking steps? Or, how is it for you? And did you plan to do what you were doing now, or did you fall into it? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so way back, I started out as a nurse, and that was really because I was really impressed with my mom saving a neighbor's life one night. Right. And so it was full of admiration. I want to be able to help people. But when I was doing my nursing, I'd always sung. And so I joined an opera group and totally fell in love with opera. And so just decided, this is it. This is what I have to do. So I took myself over from Ireland to London, from Dublin to London, and thus started my dual career pathway, you could say. Yeah, so I had like two aspects of totally different contrasting careers, but they were both with a deeper intention and a deeper purpose. And I think that's what happens for most people. They have a purpose which is calling their name. And you got to be like Inspector Cluedo, discovering what it is how to interpret that. So I think many people go on an exploratory journey, and you might stop off here and then divert to there, but it's really, you cannot go off course.
Yeah.
So there can be an element of trust in that journey, I think, so that everything will eventually make sense in the experiences you gather in your career journey. Nothing is wasted. So once you stay alert to your own inner compass as to how you're feeling, what you're experiencing, the fulfillment in that, then that will be your guide, I think, to find the right way forward. Yeah.
So, and it's interesting, the point that I picked up there was your journey, in a sense that you find in your journey. So don't be overly panicked if you're not necessarily lost, but maybe a bit unsure. Not to be panicked, in a sense of try things, take different routes, take different things, but have an idea of where you want to go, but be open to how you get there.
Exactly. And if you look at the current situation with COVID, we don't have control over external circumstances. So if you hang your hat up on that hope, you're already disempowered. So you need to have, that's why I talk about getting in touch with your own inner compass. You need to have an inner knowing of who you are and what you're about, and then have an adaptability to re-navigate when circumstances dictate. So that means having confidence, but this is where confidence comes. You know, what I say is, for my clients, I'm a cheerleader for their greatness. And it's because when you're mentoring and coaching people, other people can see that in you when you don't yet see it in yourself, which is the enormous value of coaching and mentoring.
It is. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Mentorship. Have you, what's your thoughts about mentorship? And although you provide a service of mentorship, but have you had a mentor? Have you been a mentor to someone? And what's your sort of reflections on that? And what's the value you got out of it? And what, maybe it was a bad experience, I don't know. What's your thoughts on mentorship?
Yeah, I've had both, actually. And if you think about it, our parents are our first mentors. So the word implies trusted guide, somebody who's guiding you, somebody whose experience you value. So in particularly in my singing, you know, I had mentors at the top level internationally on the global opera stage. And I had positive and negative experiences, because sometimes you need to choose your mentor wisely, because you have to, the mentor has to have integrity and has to know and have experienced the results that you are committed to achieving. And also has to be a great listener. So I think, particularly with you, Paul, anybody who's lucky enough to find you is blessed.
Thank you.
No, because your authenticity and your integrity are second to none. And that's what you're looking for in a mentor. Somebody that you can trust completely, so you can expose your weak spots, your vulnerabilities, your lack of clarity, lack of focus, and not feel bad about it. And they're flying the flag for you when you're flagging. So to me, mentorship is the greatest privilege, supporting other people shining. Really, I love it.
Perfect. So the point there to the view here is, do think about mentorship and get out there and think about it and do something about that.
Yeah, and choose
wisely.
Only
help. Yeah, and choose wisely.
Yeah, choose wisely.
Interesting then. So moving on, there is, you mentioned two things: authenticity and integrity. So for me, the question is, what values do you live by?
Yeah. Those are the top two.
That was the top two, right? So that was the top.
They're the top. And another one I have to put in there is service.
And service,
So if people are, right now, a lot of people are wobbly as well. They don't know the way forward, and they maybe have to make some career changes, which is challenging. But if you make serving others and helping other people the top of your priority list, what happens is then your results show up, because it's not about you. We get tripped up thinking it's all about us, and thinking that we have to be something extraordinary. We are already extraordinary if we stop listening to our own limiting beliefs, our own negative views about ourselves. And it's a human trait, but we have to navigate our way past that to be able to deliver what we are here for. you know, because everybody has a unique gift to bring into the world, you know, and it's about bypassing anything that blocks you to become unstoppable in that.
Yeah.
And really the gift is yourself. The gift is being yourself, which is where authenticity comes in.
Yeah. And interestingly, so those values, is that something you've consciously worked at, or unconsciously it's just happened for you? What I mean by that is sometimes people get a bit lost and they know something's not necessarily right within them for some reason. And we have to do sometimes a bit work around what's people's values and needs. Yeah. So a values exercise, you know, so I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on, was it consciously? Do you sit there and think, am I consciously sitting down to my values, or is it something
that
just
a combination?
Is it?
Yeah, it was a combination, because life gives you challenges. There's nothing more reliable than that you're going to be challenged in life at every single step of the journey. But if you can meet challenge with opportunity, if you can see it as the greatest gift to take you to the next level, then you won't be stopped by it. And so for me, it was initially the values came from what I didn't want. What I didn't want to experience, I discovered what mattered.
Yeah, okay.
And also,
so that's a great point. You thought about that then. So
yeah,
you've sat down and thought about that.
Yeah,
and worked it out.
Yeah, and exactly. You know, during my college years, I remember one particular experience where I wasn't feeling valued and I wasn't feeling seen and known for my true value.
Yeah.
And it really hurt. I didn't like it. I was really uncomfortable. But, you know, it was the greatest gift, because it had me stand up, take a stand for myself and say, no, I know who I am. This is not who I am. And that then launched my singing career and turned around the opinions, which were the negative opinions of others, which were the greatest gift for me in rising above.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, it does. It makes sense. In your career, what would you describe your style, your brand? Have you thought about that consciously?
Yeah. So now my brand is really, so I'm just designing an online course right now. So I've been thinking about this recently, and I've called it Sat Nav for Life.
Yeah.
And what that's about is finding your sat nav. What is your sat nav? Sat nav is like the navigating your GPS for truth in life. Because, you know, life goes by in a heartbeat. Because I've worked with people at the end of life and people undergoing cancer treatments, I've been blessed to know the important things in life and waking up to what really matters to get on course in life and not wasting time. And so sat nav, for me, the brand is to help people get into the right lane, so they're in the driving seat of their life consciously, and not to waste time with diversions, because there's so many diversions. And even having a great job that pays you a lot of money and gives you all the perks in the world can be a diversion if you don't listen to your inner truth, your inner voice, to discover what will give you fulfillment. And so this is where a mentor can guide you. Somebody like you, working with people, can guide them to ask those questions, to probe deeper into their knowing. And you can't always find those blind alleys yourself in your own thinking. So like you, I love to help people in that way. You know.
Okay. And sort of continue on the theme of brand, how important do you think it is for the people you've came across and you've worked with, and even in your own career, about someone having a brand? How important is that for someone to have a brand, in a sense of how people experience you? What do people experience from you as a person? Is it important to think about a brand, in your view, a personal brand? So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, if you think about it, we all have a brand in our names, right? Your name is a brand. It's a way of being identified and people talking about you and their story of who you are. And that's what branding is. It's like identifying who you are in your business context, in your career context, and having people have a clear idea, a clear focused impression of who you are, what you're about, what you provide, and why they should engage with you.
I should engage with you.
Yeah,
So it's important.
It's very critical.
It's critical
because there's a lot of noise out there right now, and there's a lot of competition for the online space, and increasing your brand clarity will increase your results, I think.
Results, yeah. Okay. Personally to you then, what was your hardest time in your career? What's been the hardest point, and what have you learned from that?
So my career is not just about career. My career is very much on life purpose from a spiritual, a deeper part of me.
Yeah.
So therefore, that can be challenging, because the more you take a stand for being a bigger player in the world and impacting change on a global level, the more you have to deal with your own incompletions, your own ego, your own shortcomings, so they're like in your face. But if you want to have just a comfortable life, you can, sit down to Netflix, have your quiet time and not be up to too much. But if you're up to something in the world, then you're going to come across challenges. And so I've had persistent challenges, but each of them have brought gifts. So because of those gifts, I've awoken to the truth of who I am in life on the higher level. And I'm excited to help other people waken up to their true potential. And so the challenges, if I hadn't had the challenges, I wouldn't have arrived at that place where I'm confident to go forward, knowing regardless who I'm talking to, I can provide enormous value on the deepest level to who they are.
Deepest level,
And so if you can make friends with challenges, then you're a winner, basically.
Exactly. I was going to say that. So it sounds like that you've accepted the challenges in a sense that you're having a more positive spin on having a challenge rather than negative. So your glass is half full rather than empty when it comes to a certain challenge.
Doesn't mean there aren't tears along the way. Doesn't mean there aren't wobbles. But that's what I mean about authenticity.
Accept it. Yeah, exactly. Accept it and move on. Yeah, exactly. And here then, what about networking? So my question's around how important is networking to you, and what's your approach, and any thoughts about that for anyone who's watching?
Yeah, so I'm kind of working on that at the moment, because I have been what you would call slightly reserved in that aspect, and also more of a lone wolf. So I started out, and really my true nature has been more of an introvert than an extrovert. But because of my opera career, I needed to kind of up my game and become okay with becoming visible. And so I recognize that you have to listen again to your own truth and be comfortable with the level of going out to network versus staying in and trusting. It's like the masculine and feminine energy. The feminine energy is like magnetic, that we draw into us our results, and the masculine energy is like go out and get them. And finding that balance, I think, is important, so that you're actually true to yourself along the route. Because it'll never be me to be rah. I'm going out there and okay, everybody, here we go.
Exactly.
It'll never be me. So, and so that aspect of external networking and putting myself out there will never feel authentic for me. But there's enormous power in authenticity and just speaking to the heart of people. And so I'm just trusting that. So I'm finding my own way of networking and gathering a tribe of people who speak my language or who want to work with me, and just trusting that process.
And I love that phrase, your tribe of people. It was mentioned in the course from one of our calls previously and stuff. It's great. Find your tribe and find your tribe of people. So I do. It's great. How does someone, in your view, keep on progressing upwards in their career? Now, what I mean by that is they might not necessarily want promotion, but so they might be having a job 9 till 5, which is fine. But they're starting to feel they would maybe like to do something a wee bit extra in their job. They might not want to be promoted because they might not want responsibility, but for people, but they want to be responsibility for an operation of something, of actually doing a task. So what's your thoughts about people progressing in their career? And a key point there is really not necessarily promotion. It's all around making them more fulfilled and happy in their career.
Yeah, I think this is where your guidance will be helping people as well, because that's an internal inquiry. And I've recognized that in the healthcare setting where certain people didn't want to move up the pole because they wanted to stay with client care. They didn't want leadership roles or managerial roles.
That's a great example. Yeah, it's a great example. Yeah. They want to stay on the ground helping people. Yeah.
And so you know who you are and why you're there. And the world might tell you you need to go up the perch, but you know that your value lies elsewhere. So there are, of course, ways of expanding that value into new avenues. There's also potentially voluntary work, but within the work context, I think this is where a mentor can probe your particular scenario to know the details of your work environment and how you can carve out, because it'll be your vision that carves out a role that might not even be there, that you can create to expand your own fulfillment in the role that you're in.
I think that's a great example in the healthcare is, quite often people are quite happy to stay as a nurse, working with people and not necessarily moving up the management chain. But they might want to do a bit of a stretch, learn different care, within healthcare. There's so many different options, upskill within there. So it's a great example. Cool. Sometimes a person can take a stretched assignment. And what I mean by that is it's a bit of fulfillment, following on from the previous question, but someone who will maybe come to you and say, I really want to do this project. I've heard about this project, heard about this piece of work. I really want to do it. And they're trying out new skills where they might not necessarily have that, but they think they could possibly do it. Yeah. What's your thoughts on that? Have you got any thoughts about the pros, the cons, or your thoughts on that?
I think it points back again to coaching and mentoring. Because human beings have a tendency to get inspired and then to lose possibility. Because life is busy and we're filled with so many tasks and every day that even to keep on track with something over a long period of time will be a challenge in itself. But to me, it's also about managing your internal state and an empowering context for what you're doing, maintaining that over time. So life will get in the way. There's nothing more reliable than that. And so having somebody hold you accountable and somebody help keep you in that inspired action state over time and growing within that as well. I mean, that is really what mentorship is.
Mentorship's around. And I like the phrase that you just used there. Somebody can lose the possibility. And for me, that is accepting that you might fail. If you take a stretched assignment, a stretched piece of work, that you might fail, and that's okay to fail because you've tried. But if you sit there and you want to do something and don't do it, then you've not tried. So trying's okay and failing's okay. Because you just pick yourself up, dust yourself down, and say, right, what do I do better for the next time? I like
kind
that
of
phrase.
Sorry, Paul.
No, carry on. Sorry.
I kind of relate to failure and success as look, they're terms, they're labels. They're not actually real. But exactly. they can give you a disempowering way of relating to yourself. So I like to look at it as results. If you reinterpret failure and success as results, and then just appraise your results and move on, rather than go down into the trough, into the abyss of guilt and blame and shame when you think you failed, and elation, which is ready to be toppled off your perch when you think you're successful.
Exactly. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Final questions is this gotcha. what's your thoughts about when it comes to careers and from the experiences that you had, what are the things that people just should not do? Quite often when in my corporate career, I would ask someone, what are the gotchas? What are the things that I'm missing, we just don't want to touch or don't want to do and stuff. So it's a bit like that for careers for me, is what are the things when someone's who's viewing this, what do you think are, what are the things people do not want to be doing when it comes to their career?
I think you have to be honest with yourself
Mm,
about why you're doing what you do. You see, the big problem for people is we don't take time out to just appraise very much.
yeah, that's
And
true.
that's in a way what coaching and mentoring gives you. It gives you like somebody who's listening to you, who is in your corner, but who's actively listening without subjective projections
Yeah,
or judgments, so that you can really hear yourself in their presence. You can hear your own truth. And so if you just go through life killing time and on default, on autopilot, without examining why and wherefore, then you're not really tuning into your real reasons.
yeah, your
And
true
so you
self.
cannot be fulfilling them really.
Yeah,
So it's really worth taking time out, prioritizing listening to your inner voice. And
yeah,
that's the thing that most people don't do.
they
And
don't.
that's where the truth lies, and that's where fulfillment lies. So it's the greatest investment to work with somebody, to hear your own inner knowing,
Yeah.
to get your sat nav going.
Yeah, to get sat nav going. And it's a great point because quite often I have people come to me and they just say they sort of fell into their career and we just
Yeah,
sort of went along with it. Life got in the way and the
yeah,
money was okay. And it sort of gave me the lifestyle that I wanted. And then at some point, they hit a brick wall and they're like, I'm not happy. What's happened?
yeah.
Last week I was really happy in the job, or not really happy, but satisfactory in the job. This week, just something's happened, and it could be anything. So it's a really good point, is to stop and listen, yeah, and
But
not to do that is a crime to themselves.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And this is why I love my work, because I've helped
exactly.
so many people at the end of life. What
Yeah,
I've witnessed with hundreds of people is they presumed they had more time, and then time is up,
yeah,
and they don't have time to then go back and to their bucket list, or to fulfill what they came for or what they feel is important.
yeah,
And there's regret then. There's regret
yes,
and incompletions. And so I would just say, coaching is a great access in that way, from time to time as well, to just appraise where you're at and where you're going,
yeah, exactly.
so that you're on purpose.
You're on
You're
purpose,
not just on autopilot.
and
Yeah.
and you're on sat nav. You're on the right road. So yeah.
Your
Odette,
GPS is
the
switched on.
GPS is switched on. Odette, that's 10 questions, 10 answers.
I
That's
know.
been wonderful. Thank you very, very much. And as someone takes a nugget of information away from our conversation today, that would be fantastic. So thank you very much. Cheers, Odette.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Hi. So before you go, thanks very much for watching the video. I truly hope that you enjoyed it and you got that nugget of information for you to take forward within your career. If you like what you've seen, please like and share it, because it really does help. In the intro video, I talked about taking action. Well, at Two Saints, we offer a career coaching program. The program is designed to help individuals truly learn about themselves, truly have a deeper understanding of their strengths and their weaknesses. It'll allow you to make the right goals for you to take forward into your career, to allow you to get that job that you've always wanted, seek that higher salary that you've quite truly deserve. If you think career coaching is something that you'd like to learn more about, follow the link that's on the page, sign up to our webinar, which we run on a Tuesday and a Thursday, which gives you a good overview of the program and why career coaching is good for you. Cheers now. Bye.